Baba vusa mazulu.
Re tlo bua ka the subject of isipansola, but the big question elore in most cases people are asking whether at home or abroad is that what is pantsula?
The word derived from two languages, which is English and Setswana. Pants and Tsula, which means the undressing of pants.
Baba vusa mazulu credo mutwa. I can vividly see the arrival of Jan van Riebeeck in 1652, like 8 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Baba vusa mazulu credo mutwa.
Exemense fandidla, owense ndi mataras, mapantsula na bomshoza, mapawa na mapawagazi. Welcome to the first episode of Geleza Monday, where you will learn about isipansola and everything that has to do with pantsula. This is your host, Malume Scelo, but preferably you can call me Malume. Vandaag, we have our guest, a legend of our own time, a poet of his own right. Umajaivan Fantuka af. I'm talking about Ukufikai le Pantsula la Kwadiane, Bra Thapelo. Exe madala. Shapo Juanchak. Long time, man.
Hi, long time.
Twara 7 years. For Zonki's giving. Yes, sir.
Sure.
Yes, sir. We invited you on Geleza Monday to talk and enjoy and speak about the subject that is very vital, because busy, which is isipansola historical background.
Sure.
As I've introduced you, I think even you can go further and say, who are you, where you come from, and what you've been doing.
All right. Nna Thapelo wa ko Diane. Ke nkgakgaute ke mosimane o potang dithaba ka fa le ka fa ke matlalatla naga ke motlong ka sebele ke kubukubuntsha marota re bone ba ba sa ibini thamagana bo di bana motho ga nthapele ke nna Goofy guy wa le Pantsula ke ngwana wa Thembile Doki Diane. Yeah, well ke goletse go moshweshwe and everything yaka well based go moshweshwe paya.
You mean komhlakeng
Komhlakeng, yeah. Ke itsitse Pantsula for my parents.
Yes, sir.
That is why I'm still doing it.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes, nizwile nonke bafethu. Na ilendaba. Iyasoka sihamba nayo. So, vandaag, as I said, ukuthi on Geleza Monday, re tlo bua ka the subject of isipansola. But the big question, elore, in most cases people are asking whether at home or abroad is that what is pantsula or what is isipansola. So, from your knowledge, o ka re go yo re gabulise o re kelezise.
All right. The word Pantsula can be defined as many things. And
Yes,
then some have already written its development. So the word, how get a research? The word derived from two languages, which is English and Setswana. Pants and Tsula, which means the undressing of pants.
That's interesting.
And then this act is because of the protest movement in 1957, ka di 9 of September. Whereas Kumadobolaville, they then called a township in our elder parents before the first removals.
Okay.
Well, they were near the town by those times. So training, it was just a walk wabo.
Sure.
So there was this Grootman Bammitsa Scott Sitole. He was known as Makenkankero. So the Grootman Diene, he had friends ba ne le gore they were political. So he argued with them gore how come basadi ba lwanela di-pass laws e le bone fela bone go sena a ding e leng gore ba etsa wabo. And then he recruited them gore let's go help. They took a train to Krugersdorp, whereas Krugersdorp by those time ono kria train e yang Ncosi wantola. So much as bane ba etsa sione, they were singing a struggle songs mo training up until Krugersdorp. And then to their surprise, the security police ba stop wantlhalogana gore that is not a legal thing e ba etsang. They must go back go ba tswang go teng wabo. To the refusal, Dai Grootman aba andresa buruku ba gage antsha marago to the security police wantor. That's when a fatlagiwang go Krugersdorp.
Okay.
And then he was sentenced for public indecency. Then go Danyane abasumula a ruta like ile ene a punishiwang go ruta mense ba ba kenang ka tronko to undress. As a way ya gore ba checka gore bana le eng e leng gore ba ikentse e illegal.
Okay.
Wantor. Coming back from ko tronko ke ga a sumula a bitsiwa Bra Biza.
Okay.
Wabo. The word Biza, whereas is a word e leng gore well, it's not normal to just undress your pants. Then it became a thing ya gore e nna sthegisa. Wabo. But sthegisa sa teng e nna gore when they are in their Stokvels, ba sumula ba etsa that thing, they mocking him ka go etsa like a style sa go undress like like o kenya boruku bo bontsha o kenya boruku bo montsha.
Which goes to the movie Mapantsula.
Yes.
And it's like you take him
Panic. Yeah.
Yes, sir, I'm listening.
Wantol. So that's how this thing it developed. It was just a protest movement, but people by an interesting jive style.
Sure.
Because of Mozobana banale the dance ya bo marabi bo tsabatsaba bo monkey jive, which were a jive style se ba creating zone from the peanuts tse ba di mamela tsa Mzobana from the disco songs.
Sure.
One tall. So people who were researching the movie Mapantsula, they had this information, but because of Mzobana Mangamula bane ba tshwere country bane ba sa batle dilo tse di ne exposed. So they banned the movie ya Mapantsula, and then it was played isiwa ko New York.
True.
Then it tlile ka boma 94.
Okay.
Ka 1990 ya Mandela a tlo chamoka wantlhaloganya.
So can I interrupt kancane? Eso reblela kama chinkankere. Awuthi enitlaka that derogatory if skwaza ka vagrant. Derogatory gesture whereby they were helping the women who were in the march going to Pretoria. The name Pantsula, in a sense, is it him who came with the name, or maybe the name developed over the years during that era ya gage when he was in the struggle helping the women?
Well, it developed through people, Pantola. Whereas these people, they had their language, they name things kayo, because they were just talking spontaneously so. So, these people they named it as that because they were just mocking. Up until yone as a jive style a be developer.
Sure.
Each one everyone adapting to styles.
Okay.
Becoming friends in the long run. Then to create the group whilst they are in the struggle sa di politiki sa go create freedom.
Okay.
Yeah.
So while we are still on the name, there's that research which was done by Thulani Nyembe,
Yeah.
the director of the play that was played, I think, about 1980 to 2001, Pozoli like Pantsula like Mshoza, and which of course Lerona some eberekhabola from that particular research, which came Simon Piri, one of the former Red for Danger members, and we did further research because we were curious about this particular culture and especially the weight. And then while we are on this thing, as you just explained, can you tell me how they interrelate? Maybe as they say that the word Pantsula derived from a Zulu word Pantsula, which means to waddle like a duck or to walk with protruded buttocks. Can you tell me how maybe the interlinks between what Machin can carry did and spread or maybe taught people, and what research that was done later on, which I just shared with you?
Yeah, true. So, the word derive, it means it's not exactly it's Zulu. Our languages as black people, they interlink.
Okay.
They sound the same.
Okay.
Pantsula, when you say it in Setswana, you'll write it in Setswana. Pantsula, when you say it in Sizulu, you'll write it in Sizulu.
Sharp.
Even when you are a vendor, you'll write it the way it sounds like. One tall. So, the researchers, they found this as a thing ya gore e developilwe baya because mostly batho ba ne ba jiva e ne le maZulu.
Okay.
Wa ntlhaloganya. So they gave that gore the information e ba researchitseng ko ke lebetse ke mang di Grootman ona ba researcha ko ene ko Soweto. One tall.
Okay.
And then he gave them that gore Pantsula derives from a Zulu word.
Okay.
To waddle like a duck is when you like wisa marago ko morago, then o boitsokotsa just like pidi. Wa ntlhaloganya. So they referred Pantsula as that.
Okay.
Not to say it is exactly that.
Okay.
Pantsula is that movement e part ya go moka dai Grootman all.
Okay.
But jokingly so,
Okay.
it became a jive style. Wa ntlhaloganya.
All right.
So when they do the research, ba lepinyisa mafoko. Whereas they developed it from the word Pantsula ya o to the word Pantsula ya you. Wa ntlhaloganya.
Sure.
Because now it has developed and became a dance form or a jive style.
Okay, wait a while. While I'm doing research myself and asking like Geleza from when over the years and so forth, is that I'm looking at the word itself, Pantsula or okupensa, or to protrude kaskhoa, from the gesture, the African dances. Because if you can check the African dances, we are not upright when we dance. We are forward bended. We mostly use the hips. We stamp hard on the floor as part of communicating with the ancestors and connecting with the land and the earth. So when you check, it might sound derogatory. Abantu abapensile ngabobani kahle kahle. Is it the male or the female? You find that people are protruding natural without having to make it fashionable are the females.
True.
You know? So I'm looking at that, the weight, comparing or trying to draw an understanding from how Basadi look on their beautiful bodies, how their structured, I mean, especially the African women, you know, how they are structured, you know? And checking from these weights and these researches, which I think they refer to the same thing, is only the difference of explaining where does it come from? How did it come about? Who came with it? But when you talk about the derogatory thing that was done by Machine Can Carry, is when he exposed his back part, mocking the police. When you check the research that was done, they are talking about whether like a dog or to walk with protruded buttocks. And when you check in most cases, if you find women with big buttocks are already protruded, you don't need to protrude them. And then male, they did that in a sense of saying, remember, in our townships, the streets were dusty before we have a tar. And they wear expensive shoes, they wear trousers which are expensive, your all these trousers that we know of, and they will pull their trousers up so that they can never get dirty by the dust, you know. And at the same time doing the gesture of protruding their buttocks, which I think they were inspired by the females, you know. And then already when they walk, they say isipansola, which goes again to isiXhosa words isipansola, riding, which means ababhenqileyo. And then it goes along around with isipansola. Isipansola are these who are protruded as they walk, you know. So I bit by bit related to what we are telling about. But because the history of isipansola is not a complete history, but we have a rich history that we tell people, and generation by generation we'll find answers, we'll modify it, we'll try to teach each and everyone. So this is a great platform in Geleza Monday of saying how do we share this thing and finding a common way of saying how do we put our story, because at the end of the day this is our story and we have to tell it. And it's not about your information it's wrong or that one it's right, of you find all of them are right. It's only that we are still trying to amalgamate it, to find our story and put it together as a unit, you know. So I have some questions here as we move on, you know. But we'll still come back and, you know, going in and out. Lama laptop la ezikufuneka incwadi nje grant ubhale ngesandla azosithayela lama laptop. So I think is it yesterday or when? Yeah, yesterday when we were talking, and then you told me about am writing the norms and values. That's Pantsula, and to my knowledge, it's so great when I hear someone taking time and having to have that, and then whereby he can share, you know, such a very, very interesting knowledge about the norms and values of isipansola. And our brother here, I think he can give us a glimpse of what he shared with me yesterday, so that even you at home, you can find a knowledge of getting to know that isipansola is not just a street dance. We've got norms and values. So yeah, schabulise brawam skelezis.
All right. This is something I wrote, Malume.
Yes, sir.
Because of I've seen recent Pantsulas, they don't have such information.
Okay.
But whereas each and everyone is taught the discipline, respect, and how to value people. So this is what I wrote. Teaching cultural rules and regulations, rituals, norms, values, beliefs, and everything of isipansola. So here I was with rules and regulations. It's a rule to know your background as a Pantsula, the history, the system of living, and the lifestyle, whether you are wearing our fashion or admiring our lifestyle, even if you are part of us. It's a rule to respect everyone with dignity and respect towards the world that accept you to become. It's a regulation when taking photos and videos, register them as your intellectual property. It's your right, and to all previous pictures and documents you you have recovered them. Archive them. It's part of your story. It's a regulation to be informed or uniformed on and off stage as an obligation to be recognized as who you are, known as a gentleman of standard. Cleanliness is how Pantsulas are recognized for, by degrading those who always are negative towards us. It's a rule to follow the rules and regulations as you become or join or being part of the culture of isipansola. It's a regulation to always promote the art of isipansola to all corners of the world through research, outspoken conversation, question and answer session, gathering, indaba, conferences, seminars, memorial lectures for isipansola as a history of its own, as it has the history of its own. It's a rule to celebrate the culture of isipansola every day, for it deserves to be preserved and kept alive for generations. It's a rule not to carry a knife, for your attitude, discipline and respect with God will protect you. It's a rule not to backstab or create beef with any Pantsola or anybody for that matter. It's a regulation to meet every Pantsola around the country and neighboring countries, for our culture has spread internationally. It's a regulation to know your right is right when you are right, to entertain everyone to the best of your ability, jive like no one is watching. So these are things that like for my side, for us to get guidance or to have a formal thing, isipansola is informal. So we have give information to such individuals by they are in the culture ya isipansola.
Yes, sir.
As much as the elders telling the most pantsoleng, and we have to give back to those by long knocking. Babata go itse more ka isipansola. It's not just a jive style.
Sure.
It's a family matter.
True.
It's a personal thing. And then it's a privilege for one to become a pantsola.
Sure.
Yes,
sir.
So I came up with this thing it is a normal thing to become whoever you want to be.
Sure.
But you are taking another platform.
Sure.
Because we are not just ordinary people, we are extraordinary.
True.
Recognized by whatever we are doing.
True.
So I developed these things because of Kibata Mabiza Banele more insight on what they are doing.
Sure.
Not just for Mujaif or and getting gigs, but to have more insight. Even if like Ubutsu reports in sessions like that, then you can
able to answer for yourself. Sure.
Stand for yourself.
Yes, sir.
Even in contracts and whatever. So I was building towards that in terms of Hongwala this Pantsula testaments. Because Kibona Hosna someone o khatalang these things no, you have for how the Pantsula represent us. Because when you are individual oleko, like maybe in sessions sabuma camera, you represent all of us, not you alone.
Yes, sir.
Whether let's say maybe for instance, but I'll be recognized as Tsotsi.
Okay, talking about Butsotsi, we are going to come on that. And then there's a thing that you spoke about,
Sure.
family matter.
Yeah.
I'm more concerned about that. Emma Dladleni, this is still Geleza Monday. I'm your host, Malume Scelo, and this is your first episode. We are learning and teaching, but each one teach one. Incwadi ayina password, incwadi inqonde ngalibali. So we coming back again, Geleza Monday. We are still on it. Check. Prawak, we're talking about family matter. Let's start there. Because remember, before we are Amapantsula, we come from families.
True.
Before the culture of isipansola, they are indigenous cultures. Hence why I was saying that I take isipansola as a township indigenous culture. Reason being that this is the oldest culture that still exists and still alive
Yeah, in the townships.
in the townships.
Sure.
We are understand.
Sure.
So obviously drawing inspiration and influence from our African indigenous cultures.
Sure.
Now, let's take it back when we grow up, if you remember. For us, because yesterday I think we were talking about the discipline.
Sure.
And in today's world, the discipline, lebe se thola mzubane, they say it's a child abuse. We about right. For us to be where we are, singama chrotman, singama uncle, and those abakroto dantina, on those that will come after us. Remember when we grew up, emadladeni there were guardians. We used to know guti by Buma Saturday, Samitana Namachita Sopanda Kopi by Sunday, Sikerezing Alapayana, Chunamakadini, I mean by Saturday, Chunamakadin, and then by Sunday, Siomaketi Medi. That was the thing. Understand? Sasplash, Aspakrens, Banit and stuff. But at the same time, Emma, there was this thing, if you can make something, let's say babata ko hustira ko shipa, and then wahana mutomuto na hustira, ba shapa ko lona, o shapu ke magreza, are rete itiki magreza ko next to bata ko hustira because ke magreza next to, abata ko hustira, abachala magreza hey shapa muto, as part of discipline, obo kraiza magreza bar olela eng, mama ngon chapil, about shapa vie for the very same thing. The uncle was funny. Okokra ollada. Are mchana. Yinto nukalela. Hey mama li usmutona ban chapil. Why ba ko chapil? Nekirika rebeke khananro. About shapavi. So end up chapil ke ba to buy 5 for one thing. Nabasa o shapeka kaletlho with hatred. Naba shapa kalerato. Which was a way of discipline you. Why I understand that I think. So you get to on those moments whereby ha re gola ne re ntshetswa diaparo gore tse ke tsa mogarabeke tse ke tsa Sunday tsa ko kerekeng and stuff right all writing even if you know kereke was part of indoctrination and colonialism of black people but somewhere somehow kereke e played a role of us being disciplined wa understand the spanking tsa ko madladleng se played a role gore re be disciplined right all writing the thing ya gore majita at a very young age knowing gore we have to do the garden, we have to do duties, we have to polish your shoes, it's as gela. When you come back from school, we have to obese, kapo 5. All of those things, it was part of discipline. Sure. And then we are in trouble. Right? So the discipline, because remember, that was apartheid system when we grew up. Sure. We never grew under segregation to apartheid, then later to democracy. And then those who came before them, it goes back and it's all oppressive system prior to democracy. And there were ways it's a little bit we had to find ways how do we discipline our kids so that they understand that we are in a war, but they will understand as they grow up. And once you are disciplined, which means you can be focused. Sure. On certain things. Yeah. So you find that how nere aparakating, how nere gaula kating. Remember mfethu. Ko dlaten ba ka ustira ba ustire nyama ra.
Yeah.
Mara uzwakala utlo gaula na mo gaula moro.
Sure.
Ne ba utsela gravy da.
Sure.
Wa understand? Or ba utsela mash.
Sure.
And no sa blomi ko stulo. A go shebile TV. O bloma go tla sa tafole. Wa ithola riding. So neribona kar e ba re sotla ko matlatleng and but realize later or no na ba re discipline.
Sure.
And hence why ukra ko spantsuling most mapantsula are disciplined and most mapantsula hona le grotmane teacher mgababa are pantsulas are the first in command, which speaks about the discipline, which speaks about mapantsula are the ones who protect the community. And the very same people who protect the community are the ones, by Lord, they were disciplined from a very young age. Sure. So even Chester, you told me something about discipline, which you can share with us based on family matters.
Yeah, the thing was that wa itse mose khale re jimisa dintwana ne,
Yes, sir.
and you find o jimisa bana ba bangata ne,
Sure.
and then you have to mediate the attitude tsa bone.
Sure.
Wa ntlhaloganya? Up until to the fact that gore how do you instill discipline ya ko
That particular
environment o nang le bone ko yone.
Yes, sir.
Wa ntlhaloganya? O ba gopotsa discipline e ba etsang ko magaeng.
Sharp.
Whatever discipline o ba etsang ko magaeng ba itlise mo rehearsaleng. To arrive on time ko rehearsaleng, to go etsa di exercise, to go kena style, wa ntlhaloganya?
To be clean.
To be clean, like on stage, off stage.
Yes, sir.
Wa ntlhaloganya? And then how to conduct yourself during the gig. Wa ntlhaloganya? So that's part of discipline.
Yes, sir.
And then whenever you have a group, that's your family. Like we used to say, Red for Danger is our second family.
Yes, sir.
Wa ntlhaloganya? Because of when you come from your own family to the other family, you instill the very same discipline o etsang ko legaeng.
Sure.
Wa ntlhaloganya?
Sure.
Because no, wa itse gore like mokasi, you are respected for what you are doing.
True.
And you are being the center of attraction. A wa tlamela go iketsetsa fela.
As well.
Wabo? Like everybody wa tsuba. For instance,
Sure.
wena o bofa zolo o botsa mo tsuba mo strateng representing us. Wa bona, that's part of chanting
Tenting Spantsula and
Wa
Mapantsula.
ntlhaloganya?
Yes, sir.
Ro Mapantsula ba etsa 1 2 3 4 5. Whereas when you are disciplined, you never do that.
True.
Because you know gore mo culture ya rona ya Spantsula re respectiwa ka what we are known for.
True.
Being a gentleman,
Yes, sir.
cleanliness, and
Respecting people. Yes, sir.
Contour.
Which respect
So,
goes both ways,
yeah,
especially.
wa ntlhaloganya?
Yes, sir.
So that's the discipline that we have to instill in the youth ya gona no. Wa ntlhaloganya? So that is what
And it's not easy.
no, it's not because now o kry le gore no ke nowadays di tlhaloganya yanong di rurugile because it's
But-
like they knowing everything.
At the same time, but what I think again, remember when we grew up, Mfetu, there were less technology. In a sense, ya gore bo the smartphone, the laptop, or the DSTV, the Wi-Fi. Most of the houses didn't have much devices. Still, or a family can be divided through these devices. One understand. And then now, let's say 20, 30 years later, the family buyer people, they've got so many devices, and then you find out people in the very same house can sit around the table,
Yeah.
and then they are in WhatsApp, Twitter, and so forth. You understand? And by so doing, it blurred the sense of unity, because once we in Zobane ne dula around Stoffo or a Mollo, and by so doing, you can able to see someone's soul. Adutsi mo molong re qoqelana ditori or malome or nkgono or abuta re qoqela ditori tsa Mzobane and stuff.
Sure.
And they were interested in these things. That was the DSTV of our time. Those stories that were told komolong. That was in Twena Bariking a way of learning one first time without having to learn just maybe on social media or on a digital platform. One first time.
Sure.
Because you can be attached to someone's soul by then, because you can feeling ya high habuwa umoshebile and stuff. So I think ona discipline, even though ne re sokodisa, not to say le rona ne re straight, that's why na ba re discipline agere. Even though ne re sokodisa, but there were lesser things that keep us away from home.
Yeah.
There were lesser things that divide us from each other as friends, as each other, as siblings. One first time. We grow up really siblings, really buy the Christmas and stuff. Why born riding? And by so doing, there was a way in as siblings and stuff.
Sure.
And families used to love each other. Hence why it was simple for each and every member of the family to discipline the kids. Whether ke malome, ke rakgadi, ke mangwane and stuff, without having gore, no, you're not my parent, why wena o? Because now there are so many things, fast forward to democracy. There are rights. But the rights they can't practice them because they don't read them and understand how rights goes with responsibility. Now we have to instill using democracy and all norms and values. How do we instill discipline and using isipansola as an art form, as a tool to teach the kids and influence or inspire others to become part of us and to gain discipline. Why first another day? So, key question here. Discipline, go into whatever you're talking about as you explain it about the norms and values. Butsotsi. Why first another? Sure. There's a contradiction with the word tsotsi and at the same time contradiction between the tsotsi and the pantsula. So maybe can you share with us what's the difference between the tsotsi or tsotsi and the pantsula?
The very same thing, difference, attitude, behavior.
Yeah.
One taller. A tsotsi can wear, can walk like a pantsula.
Sharp.
The difference would be the attitude and the behavior.
Yes, sir.
A behavior ya le pantsula is more streetwise. A behavior ya tsotsi is more street crime wise.
Sharp.
Sharp. Bullying, arrogance, but an attitude, a behavior ya le pantsula is different from ya tsotsi. Because that person ke motho ithatelang go jive to go itumedisa batho, to entertain, people to laugh.
Yes.
So there's way different between a thug and a pantsula.
Sharp.
Yeah.
So I get ke vaka koni ene ke le pizza. Mara ke kwazi mot ke vaka koni.
Yeah, well, here it comes.
Yeah.
Ha re gola re itsisiwe gore a man who doesn't have a knife,
yes, sir,
is not a man.
Sharp.
Whereas ko madladleng a rona re tla re gola ga itse gore a knife is made gore go tlo
seganama ka dispane and stuff. Sharp.
It's not to say o tsamaya ka yone every day.
Yes, sir.
That is why ne ke bua gore it is a rule and it's a regulation.
Sharp.
For a pantsula not to carry a knife.
Sharp.
Because the protection you get it from God and your ancestors.
Sharp.
And the behavior e leng go efa batho. Because o ka se kwa go wena o tsamaya ka goni o tshwentsa batho o bore ne everything it and nam jojo a gona motho mo o tlo ntshwentsa. Because you don't own the world there.
Yeah.
And you don't own lives.
Yes, sir.
So ke one da ding e leng gore king e re fa difference between a thug and a pantsula.
Sharp.
The behavior and the attitude.
It's one Buffett, this is very, very interesting. Geleza Monday ya gelezisa, ya fundisa, we learn from each other. As I said, incwadi ingqondo engena engalebale. Books, they don't have passwords. So here we are going to learn as amapantsula and those who are interested as pantsuleni. So please stay tuned. Ihlalanati sisano prakufi le pantsula la mampela bona njaka.
Sure them.
Me outi.
What's it?
Outi fandidla.
JK.
Bona aman khala godla atambula awa. Atsotsi ojang papa kale zenke.
JK.
Njaka bona man. Because the reason why we are dwelling on discipline, on butsotsi, the difference in the on the way there's pantsula, this is our history. This is part of where we come from, who we are, and where we are going.
Sure.
And then we need to use this platform of Geleza Monday and to teach people, to provoke questions, to give people platform to speak and understand so that we clear up this thing. Because when you check it, as you just spoke, if Kili Biza ke vaka kone, and then we explain. There was a time when we went to Botswana, li Impilo Mapantsula, Rospana Kada, And then we find that the culture, yakadaso, Mapantsula, akada, they carry knives. But the knife, it doesn't sit in their pocket. It sits around their waist in some kind of a wallet, one understand. So, ledaso kabona gore no, people they respect Mapantsula and they don't see Mapantsula, even if they are having knives, as threat to the community or to someone else's peace of mind, you know. And when you check the tsotsi whereby that poses threat to the community or someone else's peace, they put their knife in the pocket. But Mapantsula, they put their knife on their waist, on the side, which Mapantsula ako daidenking ko Botswana. One understand. And this is very interesting because you can see who these guys back Botswana, Mapiza are very disciplined, are very strict. They are living the culture, and even the president Botswana is supporting, undoubtedly, one first time, is supported this culture, this movement, and the association which Ntwena hosts the main of the events and stuff, you know.
Sure.
And I think yesterday we were talking about, when we touched base on some of the things, ka the word tsotsi. And there was this thing at the back of my mind, Hore, the word tsotsi, we as Mapantsula, we used it. You look at the facial expression and the gestures of how we say it. When I say, Mfaneki tsotsi, you see how I look on my face and how I pointed to, which says you are a threat to the community. But when I say, hey, tsotsi yantlatsa, I wabana tsotsi,
Sure.
one understand?
Sure.
So it's like there's a difference again of what do you refer, what kind of a tsotsi do you refer to when you say tsotsi, and then using the gesture and the facial expression and stuff. And you can see of saying when he uses that angry, funny facial expression and gestures, which says, this one is a threat. But when he uses this friendly and you know, I don't know how can I put it, and soft, some kind of diet, one first time. It shows you know there's two different tsotsis. Why it's all right. Hence why there's a contradiction within the community of saying Mapantsula kidi tsotsi. Going back to what you just said, they wear like Pantsula, they walk like Pantsula, which tell me from what you say, Hore, the tsotsi admire Mapantsula. Because I don't remember tsotsi it Pantsula.
Sure.
Because they respect Mapantsula. Unless there's something else that maybe I don't know yet that happened, maybe the tsotsi Pantsula and stuff. Because Mapantsula are very dignified people. Hence why Mapantsula are referred as gentlemen. You become a gentleman because how you treat ladies and women and the kids and the community. You know. So am I right with what I just said about Butsotsi, the differentiation of these two pronunciations of or expression of referring to two different kinds of Butsotsi?
Yeah, you are right, Moro. But obviously, we don't have to shunt away from what happened. Mapantsula, hore babitswe ditsotsi.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, it is a true thing. Some of Mapantsula, like even the person who know hore kenana protester and then ula atshwarwa, and then he then did butsotsi ba gagwe ko tronko.
Sure.
So I think Mapantsula e leng gore a simolotse ka sepantsula butlini fela e le motho o shapo, but they ended up ba feleletsa ba etsa botsotsi.
Sure.
So people knowing gore this person ke le Pantsula o tshwere ka dilo tsa gagwe tsa botsotsi, that's how they tinted. Wabo.
Sure.
Those ba ileng gore like ba ne ba tsamaya le ene gore go gore le ba le bone ke ditsotsi. So that's how botsotsi bo bileng ba interject mo spantsoleng ka teng.
Sure.
But I'll still remember gore we were the ones ba enong gore we can clean with ourselves.
True.
Ga ba bontsha people ba community gore no rona Mapantsula re ithatela go jive re ithatela go nna educated and get things right for Pantsula.
Sure.
We want to treasure and preserve Pantsula.
Sure.
And then we show them ka diketso tsa rona.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir.
and that's when they started to believe no man, Pantsula is a movement.
Sure.
It's a movement of black people trying to be together. And preserve their culture.
Yes, sir.
Wantolo.
Thank you, sir. Pantsula se fail.
What's it?
Le go bua ka sona ha re fetse.
Go feel
As why
go
re tshwara ye re tlogela da
What's
santsane
it?
re tlo iqhoba ntho.
What's it?
Olid.
Hey, Tara.
Nja ka bona. Ke na le another question. Es re ntse re move so. Re tla touch base da le da ma re ntse re.
Yeah.
Gore se Pantsula, the culture
Sure.
and its practitioners, Rona so. When in your own view, how has it changed over the years? In a sense, maybe socially, politically, economically.
It has changed drastically.
Sharp.
Because if you can remember, and when we were performing, or when our elders performed in Zobana,
Yes, sir.
they were performing for 6KC.
Yeah.
One tlhaloganya.
Yeah.
Yeah, bo go nwa bojwala one thola.
Yes, sir.
Go itumedisa the people around them. Entertainment.
Yes, sir.
And then when it was commercialized, no setse re bona go bolapologa mo di music video. Wa bona that's when we saw its development.
Sure.
Because people ba na inspired ba sumula ba kena mo Pantsuleng ba sumula ba se rata.
Sure.
Wa tlhaloganya. So it has developed into a performing art whereby re setse re bona di productions. A go sa itswa di sketch like Mozobana.
Sure.
A go sa repeata style se one ga ifo. Wa tlhaloganya.
Sure.
And now it has gone internationally.
Sure.
Much as it started to spread into the neighboring countries,
Sure.
Botswana, Siona, wa tlhaloganya.
Yeah.
So it has now gone international, whereby you get invited to
Different places in different countries.
Yeah, one thought.
Yes, sir.
Teaching and expressing this thing ya rona ya Pantsula. Wa tlhaloganya. So for me it has developed. I've got a chance ya gore ke bone gore I am a Pantsula dance historian.
Okay.
I am a philosopher of this thing.
Sharp.
Wa tlhaloganya. I am a teacher of this thing. Wa tlhaloganya. I'm a choreographer in this thing.
Yes, sir.
I'm a dancer in this thing. Wa tlhaloganya.
Sure.
So it has changed me, Lina, for the past 32 years. Mutantsa jive ga yone.
Yeah.
Ase mang le mang.
Sure.
Wa tlhaloganya. Yeah, a lot ba ileng gore they fall apart along the way. Wa tlhaloganya. And then the saying says only the strong survive.
Sharp.
Wa tlhaloganya. People ba ileng gore ba re thusa gore this thing ye go pele. Wa tlhaloganya. Whereas present setse go na le di podcast.
Yes, sir.
Who ever thought gore re tlo kry di podcast go Pantsuleng?
Yeah.
We never thought.
Yeah,
But because of
We never.
developments of what we have seen around and during the years.
Yeah.
Wa tlhaloganya. What we have acquired, because how cheka na go ya ka nna re ntse re itepatepana le bo hip hop. Wa tlhaloganya. Because we have seen gore bo hip hop ba na le di elements tse itseng le gona re na le di elements. This thing is similarity things. Wa tlhaloganya. So pushing ourselves forward, if you can still remember, I still want to build a national Pantsula museum.
Yes, sir.
A Pantsula gallery.
Sure.
Tlhaloganya. Whereas I will archive and preserve the history, the reviews, the interviews like these.
Yes, sir.
Tlhaloganya. In such a thing, whereas whoever wants the information will get it.
Sure.
Much as re itse gore now even dilo di digitizitswe remo the fourth what world,
Fourth Industrial Revolution.
so
Yes, sir.
ra itse vele gore we moving with time.
Sure.
So isipansola is moving with time from ancient to now.
Njamme, Santano leader, talking about how isipansola have changed over the years. Can I take you a little bit back? Let's say at the 80s, because that's when we grew up, as we were born in the 70s. South Africa was ungovernable,
True.
politically speaking.
Yeah.
Our elder brothers, which were young people by then, were political activists.
Sure.
And there was that thing as Rekhabuliswa ke bo Ramatsana, which is the late RIP to them, Liboka Plus RIP to him, is that ko spansuleng or ko politicking, onoba a political activist through Pantsula or Bale Pantsula through political activists, because they were recruiting young people whom were called young lions back then in the ANC movement and stuff.
Sure.
Whereby they saw a potential in young people, whereby these are the people who still got energy and can liberate South Africa from the oppressive laws of apartheid. And the way it was rough in the 80s, I even witnessed it so many times, whereby they can step a person, bamo police like life so, and then be khosatle magata. Or a mense ba gwazana ka digoni, ba compete ka gore o mo gwazitse how many holes, and those holes about the stitch go spetel how many stitches, and ba ra ile njale because of utlhabile motho how many holes and how many stitches, and le gore mang o best ka go shapa goni wa mfostan, and how le out to say pakamele and stuff, or sa find a way ya dignity and stuff, ke jive why tolerating, and hence why you find out hore Mapantsula bana le bomshoza, which is the female version of a Pantsula, which utla re khabulisa ka yona.
Sure.
A female version of a Pantsula is a very brave woman.
Sure.
It's a very quick thinking woman. It's a streetwise woman, a respective woman.
Sure.
But she doesn't take nonsense.
True.
I remember mfethu my sister Okhroto amplela gore mfethu le rena lo ya stockfeleng. Fitle stockfeleng ra tswa ra tlamele go kontlong vale out yaka re sokela ke mense mo tseleng. A una re ke tlogela ba kurisa out ke a kura le nna ra. Ke a kura wa nyo shuttle bottle o close out here. Wa mfostan. So where the times whereby male and female were fighting. And it's the same applies of what we spoke about earlier, whereby the women were marching in Pretoria and the men they had to go, no, basadi ba kaske ba vale bale ba. So women and men were always united to fight whatever is negative or threatens their peace or oppresses them. Why bona riding? Hence why I'm saying in the 1980s it was very rough and ungovernable.
Sure. Because
the oppressive system they didn't care about black people and they said no, they must kill each other, these people. Why bona riding? And in that mix in fit, Sipantsula sida,
sure.
Markets ada, ma ivy ada so, ma panka ada, bo brega bana badala kadi tobani, wa kadi walking stick, ba va mo stratem ba chapile di black and white, nabaleda. So when you check, even South Africa was ungovernable, it was rough, but people could find a way of entertaining themselves, of being creative, of being stylish, and each and every group or subculture of that time, they will post about how they wear, which women do they have, which places do they go, what drink do they drink, and at the very same time, it was a way of expressing yourself, of getting a sense of a sense of unity in diversity in a sense.
Sure.
Why bona riding, and politically, as I'm speaking, economically, but by then we find ways and means to survive. You know, the stock failures, we're talking about the stock failures, Boma Greza, Boma Ankeli, whereby Honale, Barcelona, money laundering, which I think it was a BEE, Black Economic Empowerment of those times. Where Tonada is a formalized but they had a way of structuring it because they had ways of talking, you know. I think even Loena, you know it happened it happened everywhere. Each and every car seat there was that where tolerating. And because black people they saw we are starving or we are oppressed. And we have to find ways and means of saying how do we deal with certain things economically by empowering, politically how do they survive, socially how do we love each other. And most of the people survived, if not less, but most of the people died in the 80s, in the 70s, going back. And in the 90s, early 90s, up until democracy came into being, where things are changing, socially and politically. And here we are, Mapantsula, as we are talking about, we never knew about the podcast, the social media and stuff. And lucky enough, we were some of that generation that grasped something, say, no man, this particular culture, we can take especially dance as a core, a value of isipansola as an entire culture. We can take this thing as a career. And how do we take it as a career? We didn't know, but we believed we can make a living out of this. We can teach people out of this, and we can learn out of this. And we can become something in life with this, you know. And hence why today we are here doing Geleza Monday, sharing our story of isipansola with the little knowledge that we have, and which is a great platform that we think we must continue doing this, you know. Bafethu, sisasekwe Geleza Monday. We are still siyakhabula, sisalena. Emakhaya siyahamba sonke. Nawo lapho uhleli nge-information, nawo lapho yangazi uGrotman ungayikhuluma different. Sakuncanywa na uzwakale kule couch. Sisaselapha. This is your host Malume Scelo. Bona sakuncanywa yiso Geleza Monday. Sisakutshela namanje ukuthi incwadi ingqonde engalibali. Incwadi azina password, so zwakala uzosigeleza sigeleze sonke angisho exe nchammer santsane rivaya
demo.
Yes sir. Ari bueka bo majayivane mfethu.
Sure.
Let's take bo majayivane from the 80s to the 90s.
Sure.
Or we can go further in the 50s, just briefly nje ribueka dance a little bit and then speed up to now.
Sure.
In the millennium, in 2022.
Sure.
Skhabule sempincha.
Like I told you before.
Yes, sir.
Individually, so mabiza each and everyone need like a style.
Sharp.
And then how radile style was adopt. One tlhaloganya.
Yes.
And then gona le ba ile go bana ba tla ka ditele tse di kwai.
Yeah.
A itse gore ai se bitswa ke diamond fela.
Kwai meaning sentswembo.
Sentswambo.
Se tsa
Se bitswa ke diamond net.
Yeah.
Ai ba banga ba sekgone.
Yeah.
Wa tlhaloganya. That's how go simula go tla di competition tse tsa TV.
Yes sir.
People ba nna interested gore no man. Let's enter these things in.
Yeah.
Wabo?
Yeah.
Mo developmenting ya Spiza, mo bo majayivane. Skane re bua gore ba mzobana bane ba performela dipia.
Sharp.
And then no yana ba performela zaga ba teacher wa tlhaloganya.
Yes sir.
Se go competiwa le mapiano no.
Yeah.
In the late years now.
Okay.
Wa tlhaloganya.
Okay.
Whereas now mapiano a tsere ditaele tse baya tsa Spiza a di betsa ka piano. Ma khona go recognize go this is the new Pantsula. Wa tlhaloganya. But then se bitswa mapiano.
So kopo interject with a question. what I know na mapiano ke itse e le that dance genre that I think it's a sub-genre of kwaito, but batho ba e etsang ba re no, it's an independent genre, mapiano, which is the music genre. And we're talking about dance, and you're pointing on the dance form which they called amapiano. Can you describe it for us so that at least the people, they don't get contradicted or lost? Because I'm thinking bourgeois sano. So I don't know who is bourgeois sano. Asatlo les bitwas bourgeois. C'est le mapiano. Maybe I can post that.
Well, mense ba baya banali definition it's abone.
Yeah.
When coming to dance
Yes,
and
sir.
styles.
Sure.
Some of the dance form they develop ka ditaele. Much as le rona bo Pantsuleng re developile ka ditaele.
Yeah.
They are borrowed styles
Yeah.
from hip hop or from tsaba tsaba, from mbaqanga, wantlhaloganya. So most of the time dance ya ba re etsang ya circulate ditaela di change.
Yeah, evolve.
Yeah, evolve, but detail
Yes,
di
sir.
change. It's just fela the new format of the energy we tlisang go style.
Okay.
Wantlhaloganya. So much as re khonne go name ditaele tsa rona like bo Jabulane, wantlhaloganya.
Bo Chafkopo.
Bo
Sparapara.
wantlhaloganya. So
Yes, sir.
everybody is naming what he feels gore. No, se nketsa ke itumele ke Jabulane.
So
Wantlhaloganya.
his name are based on how he
How
or she
he
feels,
feels,
and
yes.
how he demonstrates it or
Sure.
he dances it.
So, lead the way mapiano a keneng ka teng. The movements tse ba di tsang mo Pantsuleng, they go tshego gore di a tsamiselana le the beat e shapewang ka mapiano no. Because ska nne ke go tshela ke re mo bizeng mosobana ne re repeata ditaele ga ifo botla go se seng ga ifo.
Yes, sir.
They have gone back to that.
Okay.
Ba ka di beat tsa no.
Sharp.
Wantlhaloganya.
Sharp.
Pantsula is remain the same even though setse go na le bo Kisi ba re go na le bo Skanda,
Sharp.
but sampano go na le misinformation or disinformation e no gone it runs around the word Skanda. Wantlhaloganya, because
Sure.
Skanda is just a style, not a dance form engwe ya Pantsula. Wantlhaloganya.
Okay.
Sure. So Skanda se ba reng ke Skanda, for me it is acrobatic Pantsula. Wantlhaloganya.
Sure.
Because o kinyeletsa bo go tambola, bo go berekisa matsogo ka ga go bega, wantlhaloganya. Whereas ha re tla re gola go se busy no betsa style se se kwai se iwane ba go itse ka sone.
Sharp.
O bo sa ikgatelle ka tse dingata,
Sharp.
wantlhaloganya.
Sharp.
But then because of go na le creativity of everyone,
Yes, sir.
wantlhalo o khona go tsa style se no bo se etsa yana, wantlhaloganya e be nna the best style se neng gore se kile sa producer,
Yeah.
wabo. So without go tlhakatlhakanyetsa, Spiza will remain the same Spiza
Sure.
and will have the elements in gore di a tseiwa mo Spizeng and used into other dance forms.
Yes, sir.
Sure.
All right. No, that's great. That's great. Kya keleza? Kya keleza? Kya keleza? Kya keleza? Ah, nya keleza man. At the same time, ke keleza so. Ke thola essence ya gore Pantsula. Let's take Pantsula as a tribe.
Sure.
Ne? A tribe elori in a little clans.
Sure.
Different clans. And different clans, they've got the different cultures, norms and values, but they are interlinked to every member of this particular tribe, right?
Sure.
And let's look at the dance form itself. As you just explained, current Pantsulas, they do Iskand. We grew up doing Ifutus. And then ama Grotmane, ama uncle, they grew up doing Isparapara.
Sure.
As their dance genre in a sense, some they call it Sparapara, some they call it Sparapara. But Sparapara, it's a movement that links many movements within Pantsula.
Sure.
So let's take this subgenres within the entire, or these clans, subgenres within the entire tribe as clans. That's Pantsula. Having gore ba shapa skanda.
Sure.
And skanda se lore ne re se fostana. Ke se ne se shapiwa ko groundong a go tlaliwa disc.
Sure.
And then we to this particular group is supporter a certain team.
Sure.
A team ba bona kare ya fokolanyana, go shapiwa pina, go shapiwa flate, go shapiwa matsogo, go shapiwa skanda.
Sure.
A gona a backtrack music. Why but it was raw like that skanda.
Sure.
And the skanda ne se draw from Futuza. Futuza lore idlalwa ke rona le magrotmane a mang. But because time changes and things evolve and develop, as you said, or culture develops again, culture changes. Right. And you find that somewhere, somehow, maybe, just maybe, Makrotman, they can have a problem or no, bafana bana ba jive its own. Maybe it doesn't make sense, ko Makrotman.
Sure.
But it makes sense, ko dintuane.
Sure.
And maybe you go dintuane and say, so it doesn't make sense, ko lukuzana. Baraking, ko dintuane, what we dance, why for standard riding. So, but it's only fella a misunderstanding between two generations or 4 generations. Celery, one generation refuse or to understand of saying these are them, and the current generation accept and embrace what we see. We can only describe what we see, as you said. It's an acrobatic skanda because they borrowed some of the movements of acrobats and contortionists and put them in Pantsula, you know. So it's a matter of how do we agree to disagree with the younger people, and so that we can able to see the richness of Pantsula, not just feel like a one way of this is how we know it and this is how it's going to stay.
Sure.
But giving a platform and allowing everyone to express himself, as you said, and understanding, and maybe, in fact, not maybe, this is a platform of Geleza Monday whereby we should invite maybe 3 different generations
Sure.
to explain about the dance form.
Sure.
What do you dance? What do you call this? Where does it come from? Blah, blah, blah. And then maybe by so doing, because Ragelezi san, we'll see the interlinks and how did it change over the years. You know, and if a Grotman is saying, or no, then I grew up Kishapas Kanda. And then a younger generation of 2022 says, no, then I Kishapas Kanda.
Sure.
And then if they can demonstrate both of them, Skanda Sateng has its one, but Konadi the similarities.
Sure.
Why it's all riding. As Nerebu Alema Baneka, the very same issue, Patre Nabisa ka, sorry, Kahore Spiza, if it's as a tribe.
Sure.
And in a little clan, you look at Mapantsula Bakoputswan, they dance different dance form from us, which they do currently what we call a loop. What you just said, a repeater style, which is a loop. Before I was style and you go to you check Mapantsula Kobuso, they're different. Apartheid Kobo, but Toban and stuff. You check Mapantsula Ako Eastern Cape, like for example, Brotherhood National. They don't dance like us. A few they are dancing, but most talk about Tobacco and stuff, which they use as a platform to recruit those Batwankole Bolong and then to come babe part of the organization, Khorebasana, Ditsoits, and all of those things, and then create opportunities for them. You look at Mapantsula Amo Gauteng, we dance differently. You look at Mapantsula ko Limpopo, differently. The culture thing is different.
Sure.
What understand?
Sure.
You check Boswenka. Boswenka gona re batsaja ka Mapantsula dimensions.
Sure.
But cleanness babone, the movements about the example, gentleman and all of that. But bone they don't regard themselves as Mapantsula. You look at Bodiding, Baraking, Onibua Maban, Orike TV show Yadlan, Amapinga. You look at the culture Amapinga. You born Amabiza iso. And then it goes back what I say, Hore Pantsula, it's a tribe, a bigger tribe, which is a amalgamation of different people, but one from different tribal backgrounds, but having their own culture and modern. So all of these people, they wear the same. They have their own languages. They have their own movement, how they walk, how they eat, where they eat, who is being recruited and how, and all of these things. And you get similarities in all of these cultures, and which it can be Mapantsula, it can be Bariking, Amapinga, it can be Aboswenka, and so forth. And then you grab to Batswan Lebolo. How they wear the classics, they wear the classic dress code. And when I sleep Pantsula, you see no, lo muntlo le Pantsula lo. But manje lo muntlo akastart njenge Pantsula. Ustata njenge ndoda. And then it goes back to Dlala Mapantsula, mabeti gita matota. Which are real men. The real men are talking about the gentleman. So it's the same thing that we are talking about. It's only that if we keep on regelezisana, people they will start to understand and see all of us, we belong in one fraternity as Pantsula, in different with different clans and beliefs and norms and values. Why first already? Yes, sir. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe when you carry Geleza affair, because this is what I'm looking at it. It's only that maybe let's say, for example, what's the difference between Pantsula Samo South Africa, especially Gauteng, because this is the most influential province, Lesako Botswana, because that's the most cultural country, Pantsula, in a sense.
All right. I think
Yes, sir.
I think I've told you yesterday no. We have outgrown Pantsula sa rona sa khale. Wa ntlhaloganya. Whereas ha re jiva rona re kenye di brainwood. But bo brainwood ke ga yana re setse re batla go nna stylish re khabile.
Magrotman.
Ya wa ntlhaloganya.
Yes, sir.
Re berekisa di workwear tsa go jiva bo dikis. Wa ntlhaloganya. Di lenki ena ya go Botswana. How it's exactly when Pantsula se spreader siya ka go the neighboring country.
Yes, sir.
It's through political things tsa gore di mense dis bane ba batliwa ka iso ene ile mapiza.
Cha.
Ba ne ba le mo dipolitiki ebe ba exile ko Botswana.
Cha.
Then they taught wabo people bane ba bloma le bone mo jaivo o.
Sharp.
Wow. That is why the history tells us it gradually spread to the neighboring countries.
Yes, sir.
Gradually, so through this thing, one eye exile.
Sharp.
And now there's no activity no so but
Sharp.
then he taught. And then even when those people by researcher site ekamo,
Sharp.
they still doing the very same thing anybody rutiwa then.
Sharp. By keeping it as it is.
As it is.
As it was.
Yes, mo Gauteng mo. Se go Pantsula se developile blind in terms ya gore se kgonne go tsa every movement as movement.
Sharp.
Wa ntlhaloganya.
Sharp.
Every movement as movement. Le gaure is movement most.
Azange ba sticker to
to
what was maybe exposed to them back then.
Back then.
Sharp.
No, they have developed it to something else.
Yes,
because
sir.
of re checkile gore no nako di changeile no. Ne re jiva ka disco music, re jiva ka bubble gum, re jiva ka kwaito, re jiva ka house. And now music will evolve.
Sharp.
We dancing with whatever comes.
Sharp.
As long it has the rhythm, the sound, the beat, we can hop onto it.
Yes, sir.
So, Pantsula se changed so drastically in terms ya gore no, mense ba ba se aboldile ke ba ileng gore since ba se fiwa then and then this one have moved with the vehicle
Sharp.
wa ntlhaloganya
Yes, sir.
because yiso re na le so many different nations wabo ko Botswana they have the specific nation
Sharp.
ba practice Setswana le Bopantsula
Sharp.
wa ntlhaloganya mona re practice Bozulu eng re mixa mo Sepantsuleng go gote
Multicultural.
wa ntlhaloganya
Sharp.
that is why Sepantsula se developile ka ditaele
Yes,
because mo Sepantsuleng seZulu se teng
Sharp.
mo Sepantsuleng Setswana se teng
Sharp.
because
Ukukhetha kukhona.
ra di preempta mos di style tsena
Yes, sir.
gore Batswana ba etsa so ka Sepantsula
Sharp.
or Mazulu a etsa so ka Sepantsula
Sharp.
wa ntlhaloganya so that's how rona re developileng on Sunday
Sure.
a ga stika mo gore ne a ke Sepharapara original a ke Jabulani original
Sharp. I modify.
re khona go betsa Jabulani piece by piece ka stepe stepe sa teng style sa teng le go raga ga teng
Sharp.
wabo and create another style from that style
Sharp.
wa ntlhaloganya re khona go se reverse style se be re tsa another style wabo that's how rona the way creativity ya rona e gena wabo le go shebeng wa bona di mensedis ba ba shapang Sepantsula se adaptile some kind of the movement tsa those people
Yes, sir.
wa ntlhaloganya and then that's how rona re developileng ka teng
Sharp.
a o checka mabiza go Botswana ke mabiza a berekang some ke masole some ba bereka mo di companying they can afford to buy the clothes tsena every day or so wa ntlhaloganya and then the economy ya bone e tonako ya mo Mzansi wabo
Like the
currency ya bone yeah and then for bone dilo tse baya they getting support from their own government
and population. 2.5 meters.
and then how checka their membership maybe a membership ke 1000 pula
Sharp.
meaning gore the association it has
Nalezak. Yes, sir.
ntlhaloganya e supportiwa ke European what wa ntlhaloganya
Sharp.
so rona ka iso we are solely individual organizational groups wabo ba ile gore no we striving to have our own thing and to be heard wabo so re ikela di pisinyana tsa di gig tse itseng re ikeletsa di gig
Yes, sir.
wa bona right most of the time re batla go advance ta go shapa di show wa bona right already it's busy sa rona se ba se itse mo Mzansi
Sharp.
wa bona right we want to take it to another level ya gore re tsweke di country ya no go performa go teng bo Botswana mo around the country bo Lesotho wa bo re share this thing ina ya rona ya Sepantsula that is why when I was doing the project ya gathering the aim thing is to amalgamate Pantsulas.
Yes, sir.
To celebrate and preserve the culture ya Pantsula.
Sharp.
Whether food, whether fashion, whether music, whether dance form, whether rules and regulation,
Sharp.
and then preserving the photos tsa rona, the videos tsa rona, the reviews tsa rona, wa ntlhaloganya, into one.
Sharp.
Wabo.
Sharp.
That is why like this project ena ya gathering because it wants to bring back that thing ya gore no Pantsulas we must come together.
Sure.
As we saw our elders were coming together right now tsa bone ha batla mo di stock feeling. You felt the love ya gore these people they like each other, they love each other, they support each other. If maybe o mongwe na le problem mo family they can wa bona ba mo thuse ka 1 2 3 wa bo they don't shun themselves down to others.
Sure.
So le rona that's what we are striving for. Wabo because of we want to see Pantsula sa rona ele gore is an industry eleng gore is everlasting.
True.
Wa ntlhaloganya.
Very true.
Yeah. nna go ya ka nna yana nka batla go bona se bitsa se le everlasting go generations to come. I wonder generations to come ba tle be ba betsa ditaele tse di yang wa bo much as re kgona go itse gore ba dirambo na le style sa ge sa se tshepileng sa koloi ga ba mene na le style sa ga sa go tsikinya tlhogo yang wa bo mzexi na le style se se yang. So if we are not going to tell the next generation of those that we saw, then who's going to tell them?
And another thing, talking about telling them, wa gopola earlier, what I'm trying to say, when we sat outside before we started shooting, is that and stuff. Is that yes, we will take the initiative, Rona, to create platforms, Yabo Gathering, Pantsula Family Gathering, Geleza Mapantsula Festival, Impilo Mapantsula Festival, your Jive 99. We're trying to set a platform whereby people can express themselves. Kam Jive, ka Stwadlo, ka Rengsi, ka Intelligence. One understand all the elements is a Pantsula, which are there, where it's all riding. And it said Kahore, we're telling other people's stories, whereas some of them have passed on. One understand?
Yeah.
Some of them have passed on. Some of them are still alive. Some of them are family members. Some are in jail. Some bakawati drugs. Some are still Geleza. One understand?
Sure.
And a very few which we can point and say these are successful people.
Yeah.
Most Pantsula or Kas Pantsula or through Pantsula.
Sure.
And they are telling their stories. And sometimes success we measure it in different ways.
Yeah.
You know, and as we are moving, it's something else. I think we should call Makrotman as still as we're getting to come and share their stories, to come and demonstrate the movement
Sure.
and see to it how do we bring back that richness, because Pantsula as a culture is one of the richest culture or encouraging contemporary cultures in the township across the southern countries, and it's vital for us to bring my Grotman, my sister, Dintwana, my uncle, Butler on the platform to come and share their stories with us.
Sure.
Exe mense fandidla sisa Geleza. Noba kungashisa kanjani kwabanda kanjani imvula yana. But kwenzakalani izinja Concord siyageleza every day from Monday to Sunday. Bafowethu sisaphethe Bra Ncosi Thapelo Diane Kofi Kai wale Pantsula, our legend, our poet, the one who's part of umkhabulo usasigelezisa sisahamba naye bafethu. Ngitsheleni ukuthi ngiyenzeni nginibize nizelana. Exe. Yes sir. Sisahamba nalento le. Prawaka, I think re tlo wrap up no, wabo?
Sure.
Because there are so many stories as Pantsula has a fate.
Sure.
And let's look at this. I'm so grateful in fact we've got people like you taking initiative. We've got so many business by Lore. They're setting a platform. Young and old people, by Lore, in later stage they will come. Is that currently we are looking at, as we spoke about the past, the present, and the future. We're not looking at the future as we spoke about the gathering, but not just the family gathering. What future do we see? What future are you looking at as Mapantsula? I know you shared a little bit, but oka nabisa hanyani nje go resharela so that we close in closing nje.
They think ye them bro.
What can we do, Mabiza? Releka mokae, Makrotmani didn't. What is it that we need to do? Just briefly, nje. If we can do this, then we can go on a certain place.
I will start by saying we are together divided.
Okay.
One thought.
Okay.
Whereas, arena that access go ya ka nna to transport, wabo.
Okay.
Whereas maybe as my bizarre ka dula re na le di sessions.
Okay.
Tsa go re kopana like monthly session or maybe Sunday session.
Yes, sir.
One tour. For me, di a etsagala bikinyana ka bona go na le di Pantsula Fridays.
Sure.
Wabo. But the support, I don't know gore who fair.
Okay.
One tlhaloganya. Because of as my bizarre rona ga zama go ikeletsa dilo.
Yes, sir.
But the support from financial assistance reconstrained it too much. Wa bona ready. So samo ya rona mo mapizeng a reach administration.
Sharp.
Wa tlhaloganya. But there's a way ya gore o ka khona go hire a creative team e leng gore ka khona go pushisa span.
Sharp.
That's how maybe gona nonyana development ya rona e ka progress ka teng.
Yes, sir.
Because some se re bone gore bo mang ba succeedile ka go berekisa strategy se se so.
Yes, sir.
Wa bona ready. And it ke yone e leng gore e kgonne go move sa spiza go to that far.
Sure.
Wa tlhaloganya.
Yes, sir.
So continuously, so if we can have an in-bomber thing to ya gore re kopanye all South African Pantsulas in one place.
Yes, sir.
Wabo. In maybe a monthly or a month event. It's a maybe for 3 months. For instance.
Yes, sir.
Just to have our own space as Mapantsula.
Sure.
Wabo.
Sure.
A platform in gore this is meant for us. This is our 3 months.
Sure.
Wabona ready. A thing in gore we can put in the calendar ya arts and culture go no. Rona as Mapantsula, here is our thing.
Sure.
One tlhaloganya. Already mabiza atora around the world.
Sure.
They doing their thing, they are teaching, they are performing, wabo, they getting opportunities.
Yes, sir.
Wabo, they doing the gigs the promotions, wabo. Biza sinale zaga
Sure.
at present. Wabo.
Sure.
It's just you have to grab that opportunity and use it
Yes, sir.
fruitful.
Yes, sir.
Wabona ready. Ne ke na le probleme ena dembro wabo ya gore Stambo asa follower di group tse ne gore di participate ile mo programming di editseng di group tsena ka tšhelete wabo. I miss that thing wabo go ne le follow up
to see the development and empowerment of
by empower ya or maybe ba jale that child fellas lo ba le mnate.
Yes, sir.
Wa bona ready. That's what e leng gore I wish gore motana ka push riding SU. Okay, let's say via Tembisa revolution ba krile step up ba thola dithuto ba eka and then something happened.
Job.
Wa bona ready. Ebe go fade.
Job.
Wa tlhaloganya. So dilo tse sona we have to encourage mapiza wabo.
Job.
Gore even if go tlhagella dilo tse sona we pass those things. Yes, and sir. Forget dilo tse di re hlophang wabo.
Okay.
One goal e re tlamileng re shebe is to preserve the culture as Pantsula.
True.
Wabo. This is why vele na ekelela taba ya museum, but then the channels did but I cannot reach.
Me bra, arete so. As you said, the channels did but you cannot reach. I believe you can reach as much as you have a rich culture and a rich history that you just shared with us, and you just raised very important points of Mapantsula unity, of follow-up, of monetary support, of transportation, of the sessions that we need to do. Yeah. And I think we've already started with this podcast, with the little that we did with festivals that happened before, with the Pantsula Fridays, and a whole lot of other things that we don't know. So, Prawam, thanks for coming, and looking forward to make a follow-up, as we spoke about follow-up,
Sure.
to make a follow-up on other things which o tla di share le rona next time, and le Mapantsula mang, and looking forward to greater achievements and things that will come in later years. Exe, Olilo,
Thank you, Demo.
Danko,
Itara.
Geleza
Eh.
Monday to Monday.
Itara.
Exe, Sisonke, that was our legend, our poet. Bona, a teacher himself, Thapelo, goofy guy, Wale Pantsula Diane, our brother was here sharing us in knowledge yake, and I'm your host, Usicelo Malume Scelo, representing Geleza Monday, Impilo Mapantsula. Tanko, Olilo.
Baba Vusa Mazulu Credo Mutwa. I can vividly see the arrival of Jan van Riebeeck in 1652, like 8 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. A gradual indoctrination injected by black savages with selected verses from the Bible chapters as instrument to spread the spiritual allergies for self-hate, betrayal of your own people for blood money made by yes, sir, thank you, and a handshake, trading our indigenous cultures, ancestors, and ancient wisdom for demonic voices disguised in God-fearing tones they preach, sucking tithe from dry and broken pockets of peaceful sufferers, giving false hope so easy to crush.